Hmm. So it is being recorded. So shall we start now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, start Subramanian.
Yeah.
7
So it
p.m.
is
it
being
is.
recorded, so it can be put up if you want.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, so the title is Field of Definition and Berry's Theorem, and the goal of this presentation is to uh, demonstrate a proof of the if part of Berry's theorem, which is sometimes also known as the trivial part or obvious part. But so first, I wanted to discuss some importance of Berry's theorem. So we all know that this Galois group of Q, that Galois of Q bar over Q, where Q bar is a fixed algebraic closure of Q. This is the most important group in the study of algebraic number theory. And in fact, there is a theorem called Neukirch-Uchida theorem, which states that every problem regarding an some number field k over q, which is Galois extension of q, that can be reduced to a problem of the which actually hello.
TV speaking.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah, we
that
can
can be
hear.
reduced to a problem. That can be reduced to a problem regarding this Galois group of k. That is Galois group of k bar over k. And Berry's theorem confirms that there are Belly functions. So there are certain holomorphic functions over some compact Riemann surfaces, and there is an one-to-one correspondence between these Belly functions and the equivalence classes of Desing's Denfans. And there is an action of this Galois group G, Galois of Q bar over Q on this
Can you
Desing's
explain what is this Neukirch-Uchida theorem? Just a
Yeah,
moment.
sorry.
This Neukirch-Uchida theorem that you mentioned, any
Yeah,
problem regarding Galois number field can be reduced to problem regarding absolute Galois group.
yeah. Yeah, so this can be found in Neukirch's second volume, the so-called second volume of number theory, which is the cohomology of number fields.
Okay.
The last chapter is on Neukirch-Uchida theory. Yeah, so cohomology of number fields. So this is also one of the most fundamental theorems in Abelian geometry, actually. And since there is an one-to-one correspondence between these Belly functions and Desins, uh, this Belly theorem is very important because uh, once we have an action of this Galois group on some geometric object, then we can extract arithmetic information about this Galois group, and that's why. So this is one importance of the theorem of Belly. And a Belly function is nothing but a holomorphic function on this on a compact Riemann surfaces, which is ramified on at most 3 points. And since we know that we can uh, make this 3.01 and infinity using a proper Mobius transformation. In fact, there is a unique such transformation, such that for any three distinct points, zeta1, zeta2, and zeta3, we can send zeta1 to 0, zeta2 to 1, and zeta3 to infinity. And hence we can take in this definition the set to be 0, 1, comma infinity. And this compact Riemann surface actually mostly it is an algebraic curve. So the proof of the only if part is the content of Belly's two papers actually, and he gave two different proofs, but the if part actually follows from what Wei developed in his paper Field of Definition of a Variety, but it actually incorporates a lot of algebraic geometric details that sometimes it can be very difficult to follow if one is not that familiar with scheme theoretic or shape theoretic language of algebraic geometry. So later Jürgen Ulfert, so in his paper, I have cited this paper. So this paper, the obvious part of Belly's theorem and Riemann surfaces with many automorphisms. So he gave an self-contained and easier proof of this if part. So I am sort of presenting that proof. So first of all, I wanted to, yeah. So this is the this is the statement of Belly's theorem that if X is a connected smooth projective curve defined over the field of algebraic numbers, then there exists a morphism phi from X to P1C whose ramification points are in this set. So this is the if part of the theorem, and this is we are going to prove. And for that we need the concept of moduli field of a curve, which I have yeah, so which I have introduced in my previous talk, but I am here just to put up the definition for completeness sake. Yeah, so if we have a variety X and if the ideal of that variety is generated by these finitely many polynomials f1, f2 up to fm, then the variety of sigma of X, that is if I act that if I act on that variety by the sigma inside this Galois k bar over k, then that ideal of that variety is generated by this polynomial sigma inverse of fj, and by sigma of a polynomial I mean if a polynomial is say a n x to the power n up to like this, so sigma of f is just acting on the coefficients. Yeah, so sigma acts on these polynomials by acting on these coefficients, and the moduli field is defined to be the fixed field of k bar by this subgroup ux, where ux contains all automorphisms of L over k, such that this sigma x over k is isomorphic to x over k. That is this variety that we get after acting on x by sigma, and this is the variety we have. And if they are isomorphic, then we include that inside this subgroup and take the fixed field of that, and that is called the moduli field.
So basically field of moduli is the smallest number field over X is defined, right?
No, not necessarily that always X
But
is
what does
defined
your
over.
statement is this mean? It can be shown that any field of definition f of X contains the field of moduli.
Yeah, so it contains the field of moduli, but it not necessarily true that.
Okay, there could be field which are
Yeah.
smaller than
Yeah,
this.
so it is actually proved for curves in that paper I have mentioned of Jürgen Ulfert. So he proves that it can be defined over a finite extension of that moduli field, but not necessarily on that moduli field. So if it possible, So if it's possible that you can define the curve over that field of moduli, then it will be necessarily the smallest field of definition.
Hmm.
Because by definition, it is contained inside any field of definition.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I am recalling this scheme theoretic definition of field of definition. So if we have variety over L, so here variety over L means I'm just considering points in L, and L is an extension field of K. Then we say that V is defined over K if there is a variety Y over K, or yeah, so if there is a variety Y over K such that we have V is isomorphic to this base change. So this base change means we are in some sense considering the L valued points inside Y. So if this is true, then we say that V is defined over K. Yeah, and we have noted in my previous talk that by simple properties of field extensions and Galois theory, that this field of moduli is contained inside every field of definition of X, and if X is defined over Mx, then it will be the smallest field of definition. So this is one example. I have also included a proof of this. So if X is a curve over C of genus 0 or 1, then X is actually defined over Mx. So here is the proof. So if the genus is 0, then by Riemann-Hurwitz formula, it can be shown that X is isomorphic to the projective line. And now it's easy to see that the projective line is actually isomorphic to the projective line over Q. And a fiber product with the spec of C. So that is by definition, then this projective line over C is defined over Q. And since Q is the smallest field of characteristic 0, and C is a field of characteristic 0, that means any field of definition of projective line over Q, C would be some subfield of C, and hence will be a field of characteristic 0. So since Q is the smallest field of characteristic 0, we get that actually that Q is the field of definition of this projective line. And hence it shows that the projective line is defined over Q. Yeah, so is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we have the case when g of x is equals to 1, that means genus 1. And we know that a genus 1 curve with at least one rational point on in it is isomorphic to some elliptic curve over C. And this is a theorem which can be found in Silverman. I have cited the theorem. This is theorem in chapter 3, 1.4.b. So this theorem says that two elliptic curves defined over C are isomorphic if and only if they have the same J invariant. So this J invariant is certain quantity which is an invariant of an elliptic curve. And since isomorphic elliptic curves have same J invariant, the by definition U of X is the set of all automorphisms of C such that sigma X over K is isomorphic to X over K. That means the elliptic curve sigma X is isomorphic to the elliptic curve X. The elliptic curve, it is easy to see that the elliptic curve sigma X has the J invariant sigma of Jx, where Jx is the J invariant of X. So it is same as the set of all automorphisms inside Galois C over Q, such that it fixes this J invariant, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And hence by definition, it is simply the group of all automorphisms of C which fixes q jx pointwise. Since it fixes jx pointwise, it will fix all elements inside this q adjoint jx pointwise. So that means that mx is equals to qx, because mx is equals to c fixed field of this ux, and we have shown that ux is automorphism group of c over qjx. So this is automorphism group of c over qjx. So this is by definition will be qjx. And it is defined over qjx. This is also by that theorem in Silverman. So this is a special case where we can say that the curve is defined over the moduli field, and it has a generalization due to Jürgen Ulfert in his paper. I have mentioned that if we have any curve x over defined over C of any genus, then x is defined over a finite extension of the moduli field. Yeah, so do you have any questions so far? Yeah. So now I will define what is called a modular field of a covering map. So let phi be a map.
What is this
from
first
X
reference
to-
actually?
Yeah, so the first reference
Jürgen.
is Jürgen Ulfert's paper, the obvious part of Bayes'
Okay,
theorem.
okay.
And
Hmm.
yeah, so here
Nice.
he actually describes a very easy and self-contained proof of the if part that does not use the descent method of Wei, which
Okay.
is described in his paper Field of Definition and Variety. Yeah. Yeah, so it mainly uses this concept of modular field and simple field theory just to prove this if part of. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the definition of a field of moduli field of a covering map. So I have, so let phi be a map, a finite morphism. So a finite morphism did I say that? Yeah, so yeah, so let phi be from x to the projective line p1 of C be a finite morphism, and let degree of phi be the degree deg of phi. This notation I will be using for the degree of this morphism. So there is a concept. There is a concept of a degree of a morphism.
What is it?
For yeah.
How are you defining degree here?
Yeah, so the degree is actually defined by degree of phi is actually defined by some notions like there is called dy of phi at every point inside some in the pre-image of some point p, and so actually the definition won't make sense here, but if I just state the
What is
Riemann
dy?
Harvick theory. Yeah, so dy is the number of points inside the, or not the number of points, but it is just like phi. So this is
Okay, it is kind of fibers,
normal,
right?
no, not fiber. Just let me describe. So there is a normal form theorem that every yeah, so a meromorphic map or a holomorphic map near a point, it looks like x going to x to the power m inside C. So there is a unique integer such that it looks like x going to x to the power m. So we define dy of phi to be that integer m, and we sum over all such m inside for points inside the preimage of some point capital P, and it is a theorem that it is actually invariant of the choice of these points, and it is related and the degree of so the degree of a map is related by this theorem of Riemann-Hurwitz formula. So let me just state that. Yeah. So if we have a map from two compact Riemann surfaces x and y, then we have this genus of x 2 times genus of x minus 2 is equals to degree of phi 2 times genus of y minus 2 plus sum over p inside y. These are these are the ramification index of this map. That would be x. Yeah. So this is the Riemann-Hurwitz formula. Here EP of x is the ramification index of phi at the point P. Is it okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So this can be found. This can be found in Silverman's. Sorry.
Yes, no problem. Yeah.
Yes, so some noise is coming.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then we define the critical value of this map to be a point inside this P1C such that its pre-image contains less than degree of phi elements. So this this is same as saying that if I have a point inside x inside this pre-image, then that point is a ramification point. Yeah, or critical value, or this is the same concept as ramification point. And now we also know that the scheme theoretic definition of this projective line is nothing but the proj of this polynomial ring C of xy. So we don't need to go into the details, but we just need this to define this modular field of a covering map. So for any sigma inside this Galois C over Q actually extends to an automorphism of this this ring C of xy of polynomials in two variables with complex coefficients, and it induces a map between these schemes sigma of P1C and P1C. So I am denoting proj sigma to be that map, and modular field of the covering map phi is defined as follows. So it is the fixed field of C by the subgroup UX phi of UX of all automorphisms sigma of C such that there is an isomorphism F sigma from sigma x to x such that this following diagram is commutative. So here we have the map, here we have the isomorphism of varieties from sigma x to x. We have sigma x to P1C sigma phi and x to P1C phi, and we have this proj sigma from sigma P1C to P1C, and this diagram is commutative. So we are taking all such sigma, and it turns out that it is a subgroup of this UX, and we denote the moduli field of the covering phi to be this mx phi, which is the fixed field of ux phi. So it is clear that the usual moduli field is actually contained inside the moduli field of the covering because this ux phi is a subgroup of ux. So the fixed field will be inclusion, the inclusion will be reversed actually, or if we take the fixed field. Yeah, so is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is also an analogous theorem of this theorem. It says that the curve x over c and the morphism phi are defined over a finite extension of this field of moduli of this covering. And moreover, if we have that the function field of x, so we know that for every variety and for a curve, we have a notion of a function field of that variety, right? And since we have a map here, yeah, so for every variety, we know that there is a notion of function field of that variety, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So since we have a map from x to p1, we have this function field. Maybe say, yeah. So maybe say t of x, the function field, and the function field of p1 is well known to be the field of rational functions in one variable with coefficients inside C. And it is a theorem in classical algebraic geometry that T of x is a finite T of x is an extension field of CT. So if we have that extension is a Galois extension, then it is also called that this map is a Galois cover. So if that is a Galois extension, then x is defined over this field of moduli field of that covering itself. So this theorem can be found in this is theorem 2.2 in my citation 5 and
Hello?
also theorem 2.5 in my citation 6. Yeah, so citation 5 and 6.
Then what is the problem? It is not connecting. Huh, sir? Hello? 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 Huh, sir? Hello?
So is there any problem?
Yes. There was a link given. Just click on that link. Oh, so I don't know what is happening. 4 or 5 people are already joined. Hello?
Yeah.
So why you stuck? Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so I'm stating this theorem. So this is a condition when a curve x is defined over its field of moduli of some covering map phi. So this is the case that a curve and a morphism like this phi from x to p1c. So they are defined over they are always defined over a finite extension of this field of moduli of this covering map phi. And if the function field of x is a Galois extension of CT, so I just stated here that the function field of this variety X is an extension field of the function field of P1, but the function field of P1 is known to be this field of rational functions in one variable T with coefficients inside C. So if this function field of X is a Galois extension of Ct, then X is defined over this moduli field of this covering map. And for a proof, I am referring to these two papers. So here are these two papers. One is Bayes' theorem revisited by Bernard Koch, and six is Hurwitz families and arithmetic Galois groups by Coombs and Harbater. Yeah. So next we are going to define an equivalence between pairs of curves and finite morphisms from that curve to P1C. So let x1 and phi1 and x2 and phi2 are two such pairs where xi over c are curves and phi I from xi to P1C are finite morphisms. So by finite morphism, we mean is that the function field of this curve with respect to this morphism and the function field of this is a finite extension of Ct. Or it can also be said that it is a finite morphism if its fiber is finite for all points inside P1C. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so for two such finite morphisms, we say that these pairs are isomorphic if there exists an isomorphism F from x1 to x2. This is an isomorphism of variety defined over C, such that the following diagram commutes. So this is a sort of obvious definition of equivalence. So here we have x1 to P1 phi 1, x2 to P2 x2 to P1 phi 2, and the map here x1 to x2, which is an isomorphism of variety, and this is the simple identity map. And now we denote by bold C of phi to be the set of all critical values of a finite morphism phi from x to P1C. So this theorem is an analog of the celebrated theorem of Hermite-Minkowski theorem, which is a famous theorem in algebraic number theory, which states that there are only finitely many number fields of bounded discriminant. And this theorem says that if we have a finite set of points inside this projective line and D be a fixed natural number, then there exists only finitely many isomorphism classes of pairs x comma phi such that degree of phi equals to D, and the set of critical values is inside this set S. Yeah, so is the theorem statement clear?
So for a given degree and given finite set, there would be only finitely many isomorphism classes.
Yeah.
It is the meaning, right?
Yeah. So yeah. So this is quite an
Is
same
it
type
any
of
way related to
like-
this Hermite-Minkowski, just analog result? I mean, it uses
not-
this theorem or somewhere in its proof or what?
No. It does not use the theorem, but the philosophical content actually the same, and the proof method is almost the same. And there is an analogy between number fields and curves, or
Okay.
or at least between number fields and elliptic curves. So for example, the ideals in an elliptic curve, it factors into prime ideals, prime powers, right? P1 up to say pk to the power ak, and we have a notion of divisors for elliptic curves. So here for number fields, this prime ideals actually corresponds to the points inside the points in an elliptic curve, and the divisors are the same thing as these fractional ideals. And there are many such analogies between number fields and elliptic curves. So in that sense, this theorem is quite similar with this theorem. Yeah, so is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now the following is a corollary of this theorem. So let x be a curve defined over C and phi be a map as above. Phi is a map from X over C to finite morphism from X over C to P1C. And let K be a subfield of C, and assume that the critical values of this map phi are K rational. That means it belongs to the K valued points inside this variety.
Okay.
So from the modern point of view, this X of K is like a base change from its field of definition to the field K. Okay. But from the classical point of view, you can just think that if you think about the points P, if you think about the points P inside this projective line P1 or C, then this X and Y are inside this field K. That is what I'm saying when I mean that C phi is inside. So this should be inside. Yeah. So if I take this hypothesis that the critical values are K rational points, then this field of moduli of this covering is contained inside a finite extension of K. So I have included a proof, or just a sketch of the proof. So first observe that the automorphism group of C over K, that means the automorphisms of C that fix K pointwise. So here I am not using the Galois sign because a priori we don't know if C is a Galois extension of K or not. That's why I'm just using automorphism of C over K. That means automorphisms of C that fixes K pointwise. So this naturally acts on the isomorphism classes of pairs x, phi. So the action of sigma on x is thus the sigma of x that we have already encountered, and the action of phi, the action on phi is obtained by this thing. So first we get a map from x sigma to sigma of P1C, right? That is nothing but sigma of phi. And then we compose this map with this proj of sigma to get another map. Phi sigma is now a map from x sigma to P1 of C. So this again belongs to the set of all such pairs, right?
Yeah,
it
yeah,
clear?
okay, correct.
Yeah, and it's an easy fact that this project sigma has degree 1, and we have degree of phi sigma is equals to degree of sigma of phi, that is degree of this map, and which is also equal to degree of phi, since degree is actually multiplicative function. So if I have say x, y, z, 3 compact Riemann surfaces, and if I have maps like f and g, so then degree of g composed with f will be degree of f times degree of g. So degree is a multiplicative over composition, and that's why we get that degree of this phi sigma is same as degree of phi. So what we get is that by this action, if we consider the orbit of this single element x comma phi, then all the elements in that orbit will have the same degree, right? Since degree is preserved by this action, all the elements in that orbit, the maps will be of the same degree, right?
Yes.
And by this theorem, there will be then only finitely many distinct elements inside, and so there will be only finitely many elements inside that orbit, right?
Yes.
And by orbit stabilizer theorem, then the stabilizer group will be of finite index inside this automorphism group, right? Since the orbit is finite, the index of the stabilizer group is nothing but the cardinality of the orbit, yes? And hence the stabilizer group of x comma phi, this element, single element, is finite index in automorphism group of C. And we also see that the stabilizer group is contained inside this moduli field of this covering phi, and hence this fixed field of the stabilizer group of C is a finite extension of this fixed field of this thing. Yeah, so
I
this
think
is
you
clear, right?
really want. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
You really want ought k bar over k, where k bar is the algebraic closure of k. Hello.
No, actually, I'm considering only the complex numbers. Yes, sir.
No,
Yes, sir. Why do you think?
this ought c over k can be very large.
Yeah.
Because there will be huge transcendence degree. If say k is a number field.
Yeah, but I am considering a curve defined over C. That's why I'm taking the automorphism group of C over K.
But to apply it finally to Bayes' theorem, don't you want to restrict it to the algebraic closure of K?
Yeah, so that will be that will be an corollary of this theorem that I'm proving right now. Since the stabilizer group is a finite index, so that will be a corollary of this theorem actually.
I see.
Yeah, so then since the stabilizer group of
Is it,
a single, yeah.
did you attend this Anand's talk?
No, I didn't, but I have seen the lecture notes from them.
Didn't you
So
watch the
he was
YouTube video?
referring to some Deligne Mumford stacks, and he was saying
Yeah,
that I think
yeah.
you are dealing with that thing here, right?
But he's
No,
trying
no,
to
no.
avoid that language actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah.
I am completely avoiding the proof which uses way descent. Way descent is a method which is commonly used to show this if part of the proof, which can be found in Mumford's book. Mumford's book, the last chapter is devoted to two theorems. One is Morris theorem and one is Bayes' theorem. So here he actually proves Bayes' theorem using way descent and uses that Mumford stack, etc. So
I
here
see,
I
I
am using what is developed by Jürgen Ulfert in his paper, the obvious part of Bayes' theorem and Riemann surfaces with many automorphisms.
Mumford's which book? This last book?
Mumford and Oda, Algebraic Geometry 2. This is
Okay.
Treem series, text and readings in mathematics from.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so Hindustan Agency's book.
Okay.
Yeah, so here in the last chapter, you will be able to find the proof using heavy scheme theoretic language.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so since by this theorem, since the action preserves the degree, we have that the orbit of any element under the action of this Galois group is finite, and hence the stabilizer group is a finite index in this group automorphism of C over K. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And since the automorphism group of this C over K over this field, say C stabilizer of x comma phi, since this is finite, this field the stabilizer group there, here it will be the stabilizer group, Yeah, so the stabilizer group the stabilizer group is a subgroup of finite index inside this automorphism group, and hence this field extension is also finite. But this is nothing but K. So we are done. Because mx phi is C is the fixed field of ux phi, which is contained inside this stabilizer C fixed field of this stabilizer group, which is a finite extension of this K. So we have proved this statement that the moduli field of this covering is contained inside a finite extension of K, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So is the proof clear, or I should?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So now we will use this corollary and this theorem to prove Bayes' theorem, the if part. So the if part is the part where we are we are assuming that there is a map phi from x to P1C, which has at most 3 ramification points, or the same as saying that it has at most 3 critical values. And we also recall that we can take these 3 ramification points to be 0, 1, and infinity, right? By post composing it with a suitable
Yes,
Mobius
yes.
transformation. And these 0, 1, infinity are actually rational points. That means they are inside X cube, right? Because infinity, you can take infinity to be 0, 1 inside this P1C, right? So 0, 1, infinity are actually points inside this X cube. Is that okay? Hello? Hello, am I yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so these 3 points are inside X cube. So by corollary 1, here actually we are here we replace K by Q, and we get that this field of moduli of this covering map is a finite extension of Q by this corollary, right? Or maybe it is contained inside a finite extension of a Q. That means that means a number field. And now by theorem 3 here, this curve and this morphism phi are defined over a finite extension of mx phi. So since mx phi is contained inside a finite extension of Q, then any finite extension of mx phi will be a number field again, right? So this completes the proof that phi is defined over a number field and x is also defined over a number field. Yeah, so this actually finishes my presentation.
How does Wolfart prove the if part?
Sorry?
You are referred to Wolfart's book, Wolfart's work for the
Yeah,
only if part.
No. That's the if part. Only if part is the celebrated work of Bailey in his two papers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but now this.
he gave. Yeah, so he gave two proofs in consecutive papers. So 2 and 3 here
Oh, I
on
see.
Galois
Oh.
extensions of a maximal cyclotomic field and a new proof of the 3-point theorem.
Whereas these proofs appeared in which journal?
Yeah, so this proof appears in this paper, the obvious part of Bailey's theorem and Riemann surfaces with many automorphisms by Jürgen Ulfert.
And Bailey's original proofs are in which journal?
Yeah, so Bailey only proved this direction. Bailey only proved that if a curve is defined over a number field, so Bailey only proved this part, that if a curve is defined over a number field, if X is defined over a number field,
then it has this
then
map
it
on.
admits phi from X to P1 such that phi is branched at.
Yes.
0, 1, infinity.
So-
Because he knew that the converse is converse follows from what Wei did in his paper,
Yes.
field of definition and variety. That's why he only proved this part.
So in terms of triangle groups, the formulation is that Bailey's is theorem that uh, if you can take X
Yeah.
as the hyperbolic plane mod a subgroup of finite index in the triangle group,
Yeah. Yeah.
then blah blah blah. Then X is defined over a Q bar.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Bailey only proved this part, and so many people find this if part difficult because it's actually dependent on scheme theoretic works. That's why.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Very
But
good.
yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you. Yeah. So, but the main ideas of Bailey actually is involved in this part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So do you see any concrete set of problems which can be based on this Bailey's theorem? Problems to be investigated?
No, actually, I haven't seen, but I will see.
Hmm.
Next week, you are also giving the talk extending these ideas, right?
Yeah.
So this time Sabath and over the scheme.
Hmm.
Okay, thanks for nice presentation.
Yeah.
It is second time you are here.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you understand this Deline Mumford stacks and all that?
No, not all that. But I'm just studying. I'm just a BSc third year student. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but I am studying them from this Mumford and Oda's book.
Mhm. So who are you working with?
Yeah, so I'm just a BSc student. So
But you're
final year, final year BSc student in CMI.
CMI, but you must be talking to someone there in the faculty.
Yeah. So for algebraic geometry, I have been conversing with Professor Pramatnath Sastry for a long time.
Pramod Kumar. Oh, yeah. Is he here now?
Pramatnath
Is he in India?
Yeah.
Oh, Pramod Kumar is in India now.
Pramayat Sastry.
Pramod Sastry.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. So he will be in Canada maybe soon.
Yeah. Pramod Shastri. He was in US or Canada, right?
Yeah. He taught in University of Toronto in 2018.
I see.
But
Yeah, so
mostly
he will move to Canada very soon. So this is
for a
maybe his
semester only.
last.
But for a semester only.
No, I don't think so. Maybe he is moving for
Permanently.
Yeah, permanently he is moving.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe this is his last course. He is offering algebraic geometry 1 this semester.
I see.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, thanks. See you next time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So are your slides available?
Yeah, available.
Yeah. So I will send the slides. Actually, I have sent you, right?
You already sent me, and we will publish this video also on YouTube soon.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, see you.
Thanks.
Thanks.